Hey folks, Bruce Wiles with Hunter Specialties. One of the things I want to talk to you today about is conditioning your calls, your turkey calls, your box calls, and your slate calls. It's one of the things that a lot of people new to turkey hunting don't realize and don't know that you've got to do is that you've got to take care of those calls. And the last thing that you want to do is pick any of your calls up, whether it's a box call or a slate call, and put your fingers all over them. Your fingertips have all kinds of oil and grease on the top of them, and just like a car engine that you put oil into to reduce friction, the same thing applies for your turkey calls. The whole purpose of these calls is that they operate off of friction, whether it's the box call or the striker on top of the slate call. So what I'm going to show you how to do is condition your calls, both a box call and a slate call, and try to get those little bit better sounds out of them for you this spring, and make sure that you don't touch them in the wrong places. So what I've got here is I've got a new cookie cutter call. It's a slate call. It's got this plastic disc over the top of it with the cutouts in there to make each sound, such as the yelp, purr, and the cluck. And you can see on there the lines on there. Great call for beginners. Young kids can figure this out real quick just by looking at the lines on the call. What I'm going to do is, this is fresh out of the box, so what I'm going to do, we're going to pop the cover off of it, and basically what you never want to do is you never want to touch the striking surface with your fingers. Okay, so you always want to keep your fingers off of the top of the call. Now we've got a piece of emery cloth, which comes with most of the calls that you buy on the market now. They all come with some kind of a roughing patch. This is just a little piece of emery cloth. And what you want to do is you hold the call in your hand, and you just basically take it in the same direction. You want to go in the same direction the whole length of the call. Just come back and forth across the whole call like that to rough it up. Not only are you roughing it up, but you're also getting any oil and dirt and grime and that sort of thing off of the surface of the call. Okay, so now that you've got your pan all cleaned up, this striker is brand new out of the box, so I know it doesn't have any issues and stuff on the tip of it. But let's say you've had a call you've been using for a while and the striker's kind of dirty on the top and glazed over. What you want to do is just take your emery cloth that you just had, take your tip of your striker and just put it in there and clean that tip off. Just rub it around in there and get everything off of that. Okay, that simple process right there, you've just conditioned your slate call and it's ready to go. Okay, now onto the box call. This call works on the same principle of friction. You've got a lid or a top of the box call, and then you've got the striking surface on the box itself that the lid rubs against and makes those turkey sounds. Again, you never ever want to touch the box with your hands, and you never ever want to touch the lid with your fingertips. Again, the oil transfers to the call, and then that gets all over it and reduces the friction, and therefore makes your sounds, your turkey calls sound a lot poorer than what they're meant to sound like. So again, same thing, using the emery cloth. You got the grain of the wood here. You're just going to take it and go with the grain of the wood and clean that call surface right off. Okay, get it nice and clean in the same surface, same direction. Okay, so now we've got a clean lid. Now we're going to come back in and do the same thing with the edges of the box. Just come in here and wipe those down. Okay, we've got one more additional step with a box call. In order to make those wood surfaces really stick and grab to each other, to make that friction really work, you've got to make sure you get some kind of a chalk, and you can't be just any old kind of chalk. It has to be box call chalk, made specifically for turkey calls. It doesn't have any of those oils or anything in them. So what you're going to do, you just pop out a piece of chalk. You come back in here just like that, and you want to rub the chalk on the working surfaces of the call. Just take that chalk on there, rub it on there, and flip it over. And again, being careful not to touch the lid with your fingers to get them oils on there. Just come back in there with the chalk and work it into that wood. Okay, and with that being said, now you've got another conditioned box call, and then you just sit there and you'll, okay, so with that being said, this spring, before you head out into the woods, make sure you clean your calls, make sure you condition your calls, and make sure you keep your fingers off of them. It's going to make you a lot better turkey hunter in the field by making more realistic sounds. Good luck this spring.